I'm Azaria Tagaya, and this is Nightline to top stories. Varsities must give room to industry to explore disciplines with new technology, says PM. And Malaysia gearing up for possible second wave of floods. Good morning. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has urged public universities, particularly those in the northern region, to give ample space for industry players to cooperate in exploring new disciplines related to high-tech industries. The Prime Minister stressed the importance of synergy between universities, industry players and the private sector, especially in developing the semiconductor industry as well as the related ecosystems, in line with Pulau Pinang's position as a semiconductor hub in the region. At the launch of the Penang Silicon Design at 5km Plus in Bayan Lepas on Saturday, Anwar said the synergy was necessary as the country urgently needs sufficient qualified engineers in high-tech industries, including the integrated circuit design industry.
The best way to educate and train and upskill and reskill is to ensure that the synergy, the working collaboration between the industries and the institutions, education institutions take place. And it is important for the Ministry of Higher Education to ensure that this happens at the pace, a fast pace and the preparedness to adjust.
Anwar added that while political stability and clear national policies will help to attract foreign investors, the issue of ecosystems still poses a challenge for them to invest in the country. At the function, Anwar also approved a matching grant of 50 million ringgit for a 5-year period with 10 million ringgit a year for the Penang Silicon Design at 5km Plus initiative. He expressed confidence that the project, aimed to drive economic growth through the development of the integrated circuit design industry in the state, will elevate Pulau Pinang and the country to be a global semiconductor hub. In another development, the Prime Minister said the success in reducing the price of imported rice in the market has been the result of Malaysia's successful negotiations with the Indian government. The agreement was reached during the Prime Minister's visit to the country in August. Speaking at the launch of the Madani Cheapest Sale program at Kampung Masjid Timah in Permatang Pau, Pulau Pinang, Anwar said the move was evident of the federal government's commitment towards easing the people's burden, especially in ensuring basic necessities remain at a low price.
Yang beras tempatan ni masalah dia sikit. Tapi sekarang ni kita harga beras import ni turun sikit sebab kita berjaya runding dengan kerajaan India. Dan baru ni saya balik ke, bukan balik, Pakistan, balik negeri dia, Pakistan. Runding sikit dan dia setuju juga jual beras dengan harga lebih murah. Ini supaya ringankan beban masyarakat kita.
He noted that various initiatives have been implemented by the government to help ease the cost of living for the people. Among them, the Rahmah Madani Sales Program and the Madani Farmers Market. In the same vein, the Prime Minister welcomed the Madani Cheapest Sale initiative, which offers goods at lower prices. He said such programs can create healthy competition, thereby putting pressure on overall market prices to be reduced. The nation is gearing up for a possible second wave of floods as a week-long monsoon surge has been forecasted to begin Sunday, with Pahang and Johor expected to be the hardest hit. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi nevertheless assured that preparations, including the deployment of assets and personnel, are already underway in affected areas. The Meteorological Department had forecast the onset of a second wave of floods within the next 2 weeks. Aside from Pahang and Johor, a continuous rain alert has also been issued for Perlis, Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu and Perak, which will remain in effect until December 11th. In Sabah and Sarawak, floods are expected to occur only from the end of this month until March.
Kita harapkan JKM akan melakukan penyelarasan terhadap usaha-usaha yang dilakukan oleh NGO-NGO di seluruh negara.
Zahid was speaking to the media after sending off volunteers from the Barisan National Post-Flood Relief Mission to the East Coast and Northern region. The team comprises 300 members from BN's Youth, Wanita and Putri wings, as well as 100 UMNO Siswa members, employing 7 four-wheel drive vehicles, 2 vans, 15 lorries and 1 trailer. The team will be distributing 1,000 packs of essential supplies to flood victims. The Education Ministry, meanwhile, has stepped up its preparedness to face the possibility of a second wave of floods in 7 states. In a statement on Saturday, it said the Disaster Management Committee in each state education department and district education office in the states affected by floods have been instructed to raise its preparedness, especially in high-risk areas. It added all committees have been ordered to carry out their respective policies based on the professional circular and bulletins that are in effect and refer to the Ministry's Flood Disaster Management Guide for educational institutions, which includes actions to be taken before, during and after the flood. The instructions involve Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang, Perlis, Kedah, Perak and Johor. The Ministry also announced that the Standard Operating Procedure OP Payung has been activated to ensure that the Science Practical Test Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM, scheduled for December 9th, 10th and 12th, run smoothly. More than 10,000 cases of waterborne diseases have been recorded at temporary relief centres in the 6 states hit by floods. However, according to Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, all reported infectious disease cases have been sporadic and are so far under control. The highest number of cases involved acute respiratory infections, with more than 6,700 cases recorded. Other ailments include skin infections, chickenpox, as well as hand, foot and mouth disease.
Pastinya ada kes-kes yang perlu di-refer kepada, sama ada perlu pada hemodialisis di speciality yang terdekat. Apalagi tadi kes-kes yang mana kita refer hemodialisis dan apa lagi ada juga yang kes-kes stroke yang baru saja ini, post stroke juga kita bawa ke hospital dan facility yang terdekat ya.
Dr. Zulkifli was speaking to the media after visiting the relief centre at Maktab Rendah Sains Mara in Tumpat. Meanwhile, the Health Minister also reported that 121 healthcare facilities have been affected by the floods, with 77 in Kelantan, 30 in Terengganu, 9 in Kedah, 2 each in Negeri Sembilan and Pahang, and 1 in Perak. At the moment, 87 of the healthcare facilities are operational, while 31 have moved their services to alternative facilities. Only 3 facilities are non-operational as they're still being cleaned. Now, speaking on another matter, Dr. Zulkifli has stressed that the alleged assault of a doctor by a medical assistant at Gerik Hospital must not be taken lightly despite being an isolated incident. The Health Ministry would determine the next step once the authorities have completed their probe.
Kes-kes ni adalah satu kes yang agak timbulnya sesekali, tetapi kita tidak boleh ambil ringan. Saya pasti mahu pertama-tamanya mendapat pendapatan daripada siasatan, dan mungkin juga kita selepas pada itu kita lazimnya kita akan menubuhkan kita punya panel teknis siasatan kita juga internally, dan kalau seperti mana yang sedang berlaku, kita ada satu panel bebas.
The Perak Health Department on Friday said a committee was established to investigate claims that a male doctor was assaulted by a male medical assistant at Gerik Hospital in June. The incident allegedly took place while the doctor was treating a female patient who had sustained injuries in an assault with parts of her body exposed. The National Service 3.0, set to be rolled out in stages starting next month, is not based on the national service models of other countries, but have rather been tailored to meet Malaysia's unique needs. Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said unlike certain countries that have national service due to direct external threats such as regional tensions, Malaysia's challenges are geared more towards promoting unity within its diverse society. The minister noted that there has been criticism of the National Service 3.0, with some questioning why it had not been devised as a solely military-based program. Rather, it will comprise 70% of basic military training with 30% basic national service modules.
Setengah-setengah negara, dia ada national service kerana ancaman. Ancaman macam South Korea dengan North Korea, Taiwan. Kita fahamlah kan? Kita ni tak ada ancaman begitu. Tetapi kita ni ada cabaran. Cabaran kita dari segi kita nak pupuk negara yang masyarakatnya majmuk dan sebagainya.
Khalid said apart from military-related activities, there will also be an emphasis on discipline and leadership, as well as to foster deeper understanding of the country's history among the trainees. On another matter, Khalid stressed that Malaysia cannot be complacent when it comes to the issues of defence, despite adopting a neutral approach and striving to be a middle power. He said although friendly with all parties, Malaysia cannot run away from being affected by conflicts among the major powers, which can cause disruptions to the supply chain and threaten security.
Mungkin kita neutral, tak buat apa-apa. Misalnya, let's say, Korea Selatan dengan Korea Utara berperang dan sebagainya, maka tentunya akan menjejaskan kita punya supply chain dan sebagainya.
The Defence Minister spoke to the media after the National Centre for Defence Studies Puspahana's graduation ceremony. He stressed that non-traditional threats such as climate change, natural disasters and technological advancements also posed a challenge that the country had to face. As such, he said Malaysia must take steps to ensure its defence is future-proof by multiplying investments in providing an advanced military organisation in terms of technology. Barisan Nasional, or BN, is set to undergo rebranding as one of three key pillars under the Moving Forward framework, aimed at restructuring its strength. Its chairman, Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, said the rebranding must be supported by modern strategies, including refreshing slogans, campaign materials and social media content to reflect a new era that aligns with the aspirations of youth and the digital generation. During his keynote address at BN's Golden Jubilee celebration in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday, Ahmad Zahid said previously the coalition's approach focused heavily on traditional methods of engaging with the people. The BN Supremo said today BN must transform into a data-driven party, leveraging advanced technology to understand public sentiments and thinking patterns.
Penjenamaan semula BN mesti mencerminkan transformasi selari dengan cabaran semasa. Dengan pendekatan proaktif, inklusif dan inovatif. BN mesti membina semula identiti sebagai kuasa dinamik dalam politik Malaysia dengan naratif yang sesuai dengan kehendak zaman.
He also urged BN component parties to embrace changes that transcend party interests, striving for the larger goal of national political stability. Ahmad Zahid said this was one of the key elements of the new changes outlined to ensure the party would no longer be trapped in the nostalgia of its 50-year-old achievements or bound by past legacies without a clear plan for the future. The BN chief said the rebranding strategy must expand inclusivity, that it should not remain exclusive to specific groups or overly reliant on traditional support bases and staunch voters, which are no longer sufficient to secure electoral victories. Present at the function will BN Deputy Chairman Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan, BN Secretary General Datuk Sri Zamri Abdul Kadir and BN Treasurer General Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has completed its probe into the alleged abuse of power involving a fertilizer cartel worth about 60 million ringgit, which is believed to be related to a public organisation. Its Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said that the investigation paper has also been submitted to its Legal and Prosecution Department for further action.
Kita tunggu keputusannya mungkin dalam bulan Disember ini. Saya rasa jangkaannya pada Januari tahun depan akan dibuat keputusan sama ada pertuduhan ataupun tidak. Yang penting kita nak melihat kepada apa komen ataupun arahan selanjutnya daripada Timbalan Baru Raya. Memang dalam kes ini ada dicanangkan pertuduhan terhadap seseorang, mungkin lebih pada seorang individu.
According to Azam, the investigation includes criminal cases in addition to improvement on governance. On November 3rd, the MACC remanded 2 former general managers of an agricultural organisation to help with the investigation of abuse of power involving a fertilizer procurement cartel worth approximately 60 million ringgit. On October 30th, the MACC was reported to have detained a marketing executive of a company in connection with the alleged existence of a cartel in the distribution and supply of a paddy fertilizer contract estimated to be worth 1.8 billion ringgit. Following the arrests, 2 more individuals, including the chairman of the company, who were foreign citizens, were arrested to help the investigation. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim had emphasised that the investigation into the National Farmers Organisation NAFAS in connection with allegations of cartel involvement should be handed to the MACC. Meanwhile, on November 1st, the Director General of the Farmers Organisation Authority LPP, Amir Matamin, announced that the constitution is being suspended to improve governance of the organisation. In Sabah, a fire broke out in Kampung Tanjung Aru Baru Laut, Kota Kinabalu on Saturday, destroying 7 homes. No casualties were reported. The Fire and Rescue Department received an emergency call at 1:43 p.m. Firefighters from the Kota Kinabalu Fire and Rescue Department arrived on the scene and battled the blaze for several hours. A total of 28 firefighters, along with several fire engines, were deployed to manage the situation. The Civil Defence Force, Royal Malaysian Police and Sabah Electricity Board also provided support. The fire was finally brought under control by 2:35 p.m. It destroyed 4 homes completely and partially damaged 3 others. The firefighting team managed to prevent the fire from spreading to nearby homes. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of the fire. Gout smashes national 200-meter record. Sports after this breather.
Apa yang kelakar sangat tu, Kak? Ni tengah tengok drama baru dekat tonton ni. Macam seronok je cerita ni. Kalau nak tengok kat TV, boleh tak?
Boleh je, Mak. Cari aplikasi tonton. Dah jumpa tu, tinggal buat turun je. Dah buka tonton, tekan butang sign in, nanti dia keluar macam ni. Dia ada bagi link. Tapi nak senang, invest je kod QR ni. Masukkan je ID dengan password. Sekarang ni tinggal cari senang dan main drama.
Lebih segar, lebih dinamik. Laporan komprehensif menghidupkan pagi anda.
Buletin pagi dengan waktu yang baharu. 9.30 pagi setiap hari bermula 1 November.
Luka di paru-paru sebanyak lebih kurang 13 luka. Saya batuk berdarah. Darahnya bukannya sikit. Darahnya sebanyak macam 1 jug. Perangai dia saya nak cakap dengan isteri saya, dia marah, dia mengamuk. Macam saya nak cakap dengan anak saya yang perempuan tu, dia mengamuk kat dalam. Dia tak bagi bercakap.
Alah, dah habis? Tak sempat nak tengok.
Drama TV3 Mak? Tengok je lah, tonton.
Telefon nak buat?
Telefon Mak. Mula-mula Mak buka tonton, lepas tu tekan sign up here untuk buat akaun baru. Isi nombor telefon, email dengan password. Masukkan nombor TAC dan siap.
Ya, senang je. Jadi tengok dasar? Boleh lah.
Edit lah drama Mak tu.
We're back with sports. Badminton. Men's singles shuttler Li Zijia was handed a tricky draw in the World Tour Finals scheduled to take place from December 11th to 15th in Hangzhou, China. In the draw released on Saturday, world number 8 Li was placed in Group A along with Denmark's world number 2 Anders Antonsen, world number 6 Li Shifeng of China and world number 9 Chu Tianqin of Taiwan. Only the top 2 in the group will progress to the last 4. In the men's doubles, national top pair Aaron Chia and So Woo Yik have a tough draw as they'll take on China's world number 6 He Jiting, Ren Jiangyu and Indonesians Fajar Alfian and Rian Ardianto, as well as Sabar Gutama and Muhammad Reza in Group B. Another Malaysian pair, Gozi Fei and Nur Izzuddin Rumsani, have been placed in Group A with Denmark's world number 3 Kim Astrup, Anders Skarrup Rasmussen and Taiwan's 2-time Olympic champions Li Yang and Wang Qilin and Li Jihui Yang Po Xuan. In the women's doubles category, Buletin and Tina face an uphill battle after they were placed in a difficult group. The world number 6 found themselves with China's world number 1 Liu Xingxu, Tan Ning, Japan's world number 4 Nami Matsuyama, Chiharu Shida, and India's Trisa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand in Group A. Turning to athletics, Australian sprint prodigy Gout clocked the fastest time ever by a 16-year-old to smash the national 200-meter record on Saturday and do something even Usain Bolt never achieved. The teenager ran 20.04 seconds at the Australian All-Schools Athletics Championships at his home track in Brisbane, breaking Peter Norman's national record of 20.06 seconds from the 1968 Olympics. Gout has been compared in local media to Bolt, and his time is the fastest ever by a 16-year-old over 200 metres. Gout also now holds the second fastest time in history for athletes under the age of 18, overtaking Bolt's 20.13. Gout will travel to the United States next month to train with Olympic 100-metre champion Noah Lyles. Yoon survives impeachment. The details when Nightline returns.
Cepat! Gol! Lah, apa nangis? Bola je pun.
Sedihlah drama ni.
Wan, tengok bola tu drama.
Korang tahu tak ada banyak drama dengan filem Korea dekat tonton? Korang boleh layan opak korang sampai pagi. Muat turun aplikasi tonton sekarang. Semua favourite anda ada di sini.
Cakap dengan siapa?
Luka di paru-paru sebanyak lebih kurang 13 luka. Saya batuk berdarah. Darahnya bukannya sikit, darahnya sebanyak macam 1 jak. Perangai dia saya nak cakap dengan isteri saya, dia marah, dia mengamuk. Macam saya nak cakap dengan anak saya yang perempuan tu, dia mengamuk kat dalam. Dia tak bagi bercakap.
Lebih segar, lebih dinamik. Laporan komprehensif menghidupkan pagi anda.
Buletin pagi dengan waktu yang baharu. 9.30 pagi setiap hari bermula 1 November.
Dan ini bahagian kepala dia.
Yang mahir makan temelok ni memang kuasan telundu, babanza, iban seboyang. Memang betul-betul sedap. Sebelum berjumpa, betul-betul penat sekali. Bila dah jumpa, tenang hati, juga ada belah, terus masuk mulut.
Wow, temelok.
Dalam tempoh 3 hari 2 malam ni, kita target kita akan selesaikan lebih kurang dalam 50 kes. Kita tak nak dia orang terkicir daripada bantian ni.
Data-data tu akan gunakan pada pembangunan negara dan akan memberi manfaat kepada semua rakyat.
We're back with news from the foreign front. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will remain in office even after his extraordinary and ill-fated attempt to impose martial law. This after the National Assembly on Saturday failed to pass a bill to impeach him following a boycott by the president's ruling party on Saturday. The motion required support from a 2/3 majority or 200 votes to pass. Because Yoon's party controls 108 of the 300 seats in the Democratic-controlled National Assembly, at least 8 lawmakers from his Conservative People Power Party needed to cross the aisle for the motion to pass. All but one PPP lawmaker initially boycotted the vote by leaving the chamber, followed by 2 additional members who returned to cast their ballots. The Speaker of the National Assembly pleaded with the PPP members to return, saying it was critical to South Korea's democratic process. But no other lawmaker returned to the chamber, forcing an end to the vote 3 hours after members began casting ballots. Only 195 lawmakers cast ballots, 5 short of the number needed to open the ballot box and begin counting. The failed vote is likely to trigger further political disarray and growing public demands for his resignation. The opposition leader has vowed to impeach Yoon, and lawmakers are considering filing a new impeachment motion next week. Earlier, Yoon Suk-yeol made a public apology for his attempt to impose martial law this week, but did not resign on Saturday, defying intense pressure to step down, even from some in his own party. In a televised address to the nation, Yoon said he would not seek to avoid legal and political responsibility for his decision, which he said was born out of desperation.
매우 송구스럽게 생각하며 많이 놀라셨을 국민 여러분께 진심으로 사과드립니다. 저는 이번 계엄 선포와 관련하여 법적, 정치적 책임 문제를 회피하지 않겠습니다.
However, some Seoul residents were still disappointed with the president's apology.
과연 조금 전에 인터뷰 상황에서 인터뷰를 보니까 과연 정말 진정성 있는 기자회견이었나 담화였나 이렇게 생각됩니다. 현재의 위기 상황을 잠깐 모면하려고 하는 그런 인터뷰 담화 아니었나 그렇게 생각해서 심히 우려스럽습니다.
우선 법적으로 계엄령이 어떤 문제가 있었던 것 같고 우리나라 국민들 정서에 그걸 원한 사람들도 없었고 모든 게 좀 일방적이었다, 민주적이지 않았다 그렇게 생각합니다.
On another matter, South Korea's National Assembly failed to pass a special council bill to investigate multiple allegations against First Lady Kim Kyun-hee on Saturday, including election meddling, leakage of classified information and stock manipulation. The National Assembly voted 198 to 102 in favour of the bill, once again falling short of the two-thirds threshold required of all 300 lawmakers present to approve the measure. The bill's failure to pass follows a year-long political tug-of-war characterised by repeated proposal, rejection and reintroduction. Opposition parties have blasted the prosecutors for failing to indict Kim on charges of stock manipulation and other allegations, such as her acceptance of a Christian Dior bag, despite an anti-graft law that stipulates that public officials must not accept valuable gifts. In the Netherlands, at least one person died on Saturday when an apartment complex in The Hague collapsed after a huge explosion and fire, with little hope of finding survivors under the rubble. The blast and resulting inferno destroyed at least 5 homes, but it was not clear how many people were buried in the debris. However, 4 people have already been pulled out of the debris and taken to hospital as elite teams with sniffer dogs deployed to rescue others trapped by the disaster. The cause of the blast was not immediately clear, but police appealed for information about a car seen speeding away from the scene shortly after the explosion. Israel's war on Gaza has continued into its 428th day, with strikes killing and wounding at least 50 people since Friday evening. A strike on the Nusrat refugee camp in central Gaza killed at least 22 people, mostly women and children. A spokesman for the Gaza's civil defense said the attack targeted the Al-Nadi family home, damaging nearby residences as well. Local media also reported that at least 6 children and 5 women were among those killed in the early aftermath of the attack. Meanwhile, in Beit Lahia, Zionist forces killed at least 29 people in attacks on the Indonesian hospital and around the vicinity of the Kamal Adwan hospital. Social media platform TikTok edged closer to being banned in the United States after it lost an appeal against a law requiring the video sharing app to divest from its Chinese parent company by January 19th. The company on Friday had hoped a federal appeals court would agree with its argument that the law was unconstitutional because it represented a staggering impact on the free speech of its 170 million US users. However, the court upheld the law, which it said was the culmination of extensive bipartisan action by the Congress and by successive presidents. TikTok says it will now take its fight to the US Supreme Court, the country's highest legal authority. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as the American Museum of Natural History revealed the identity of its latest resident, the apex, one of the most complete specimens of the spiny-backed dinosaur known as a Stegosaurus ever discovered. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time.